What if the rules you thought were fair weren't being applied equally, and the dream home you believed was freedom became its own battlefield of silence and suspicion? Two stories, one family, a rule meant for all, a house meant for one, and the question that haunts every viewer: what happens when fairness becomes favoritism? Part 1. To understand the anomaly, we must first understand the rule. In many plural marriage reality constructs, once children reach legal adulthood, they shift into a different status: separate homes, separate finances, separate lives. This was broadly true for many of the older Brown children, but with Robyn's daughters and daughter-in-law scenario, something different appears. Fans point out posts like, "What do Robyn's daughters do, and why does whatever it is exempt them from the 18 and out rule?" And in other threads, Robyn infantilizes her children, is overprotective, and has never let them make decisions for themselves. When she married Kody, they grew up in the plural marriage household. Officially, they are adults, but their presence continues in ways that seem to contradict the broader family framework. Was the original 18 and out rule ever intended to apply to her kids? Here's where alliances and power start to matter. Robyn is often portrayed as the closest partner to Kody in the newer era of the family. Sources say their bond has been tighter than the other wives. Her daughters Aurora and Brianna grew up under that roof, with Kody's legal adoption of Robyn's earlier children in 2015. But what does exemption look like? Viewers have noted that Robyn's daughters appear inside the home, living near or with Kody Robyn, receiving privileges that other adult children often do not. My mom's kids and I have each had our own experiences being told directly that I was not accepted. This suggests that while they may appear integrated, their status may actually be a hybrid, not quite independent adult children, yet not full minors either. Could this exception be rooted in legal adoption, preferential bonding, or simply a deeper agenda? The tension grows when fans start comparing how the rule behaves in different segments of the family. Older children from earlier marriages move out or live separately. Robyn's remain connected. Reddit watchers raise questions about fairness, transparency, and whether Robyn's protective influence has carved out a special track. Robyn's daughters themselves admitting they felt excluded, that they weren't accepted by the rest of the family. The exception seems to coincide with exclusion. They may be in, but not fully accepted. Meanwhile, viewers wonder, is the exemption about love and protection, or about control and favoritism? What happens when favoritism and family rules collide? And now, the twist. What if the exemption isn't the daughters staying under the rule, but rather the rule itself bending around them? In other words, the focus shifts from "why are they still here?" to "what if they were staying under the rule, but rather the rule itself bending around them?" In other words, the focus shifts from "why are they still here?" to "what if they were never meant to leave under the rule that others follow?" The rule serves the older structure of the family, but when Robyn joined the marriage later, the dynamics shifted. Her children came in with her, were adopted, and became part of a new hierarchy. The 18 and out framework may have been waived, not because they broke it, but because they were placed in a different category altogether. What seems like favoritism may instead be structural rearrangement, a privileged subset within the household created through adoption, bonding, and mutual reliance between Kody and Robyn. The daughters aren't special guests. They're embedded members of the core unit, and the rule was quietly bypassed for them from the start. And that changes everything. Once the twist falls into place, the reaction comes fast. Online communities explode with commentary. Is Robyn sabotaging Kody's bond with his kids? Are Robyn's daughters a de facto family inside the family? Meanwhile, other children feel estranged or excluded. Case in point, one daughter from a previous wife noted, "My mom's kids and I have each had experiences being told I was not accepted." Fans argue that the exception undermines the supposed fairness of the plural marriage and accelerates fragmentation. Some see it as a reflection of inequality in household power. Others as evidence of emotional favoritism. Why do they get to stay when others didn't? What message does this send to the other kids? If the rule applies only to some, does it apply at all? For American women watching this show, the resonance is clear. Fairness in family dynamics, transparency, adult children, and autonomy, all themes we navigate in our own lives. The backlash is not just about reality TV. It's about how we treat our grown kids. Mini hook. So what's the cost? For the daughters, for Robyn, for Kody, and for us who watch. The ZO 18 out rule appears stable in many parts of the family, but exceptions exist where structural bonds shift the logic. With Robyn's daughters, we witness a version of the rule where adoption, late entry marriage, and executive family positioning rewrite the script. Being in a system where rules feel unevenly applied can create resentment, identity issues, and fractured relationships. For women watching, the bigger lesson is about how we manage transitions to adulthood, how we respect boundaries, fairness in parenting, and the autonomy of grown children. If a rule isn't applied equally, its moral authority crumbles. And when that happens in a family, we're all left picking up the pieces. In the comments, I'd like to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where family rules changed for some, but not others? How did it feel? And how did you respond? Part 2. To understand the pace, let's rewind. The land, 156 acres of forested space, quiet roads, the promise of something new. Janelle posted, "Finally putting down some permanent roots. Doesn't look like much yet, but it will." L. For years she felt her previous homes were chosen because what worked for my big, chaotic family. This time, she said, every part of this new home is truly intentional. Raw land means roads, utilities, permits, geotechnical work, zoning invisible layers that often go unseen on reality TV. Many viewers forgive the wait, knowing building on raw land takes time. Others are less patient. Mini hook. Is this delay just a buy-in to the process or a sign of something deeper? Janelle isn't alone in this. Her daughter Maddie and husband Caleb are co-owners, co-visionaries in the venture, now branded as Tata Farms. This home is completely mine. For the first time, I get to create a home that feels exactly like me. This shift from plural marriage wife to independent builder frames the story. But alliances matter. She has friends in her corner, including her former sister wife, Christine Brown. And yet, the larger family legacy looms. The money, the shared history, the emotional baggage. When you break away, does the slow build reflect building or healing or both? The fans are watching. Social media posts like, "It doesn't look like much, but it is," are met with both hope and skepticism. Some are in full support. Building on raw land takes time because of permits planning. Others voice frustration. Why is this still just a driveway 6 months in? She left the old life behind for this. Yet even in the freedom phase, the landscape shows very little. The emotional weight is real. The death of her son, the dissolution of her marriage, the building of something new. But underpinning all this is a deeper tension. Financial transparency, access to resources, and the legacy of the old family structure still casting long shadows. Could this delay be about more than construction? Could it be about identity and power? And here comes the twist. What if the delay itself isn't the problem, but the reason? What if the slow build is not a sign of failure, but a strategic repositioning? Janelle is not simply building a house, she is rebuilding her life, her brand, her independence. The land is her platform. The slow pace? A deliberate process of creating the right foundation rather than rushing into the wrong one. By teaming with Maddie Caleb and forming Tata Farms, she's tying the home to a business venture, an estate, a legacy. The softness of just building a house gets harder when it becomes building an asset, a brand, a future. The twist. The home isn't delayed because she's stuck. It's delayed because she's choosing control, autonomy, and blueprinting a new life from the ground up. And when you choose control, time becomes your ally and your enemy. Once that twist sinks in, reactions swell. Fans who once cheered the departure from plural life now ask, "Are you trading one cage for another?" Others defend her. This is women's independence in action. Remodel life. Own your land. Do it on your terms. On social media, if she wanted to move fast, she could have bought existing. She chose raw land. But raw land means so many hidden costs. Maybe the audience forgot that. She writes about it being completely her own, but that also means she's alone for the full build. For American women tuning in, the resonance is clear. How many of us have hit the pause button to build something meaningful instead of convenient? How many of us feel the weight of doing it our way? The backlash isn't just about a TV home. It's about waiting, patience, independence, and judgment. So, what's the message? For Janelle, for the fans, for us at home? As the land sits quiet and the footings poured, here's what we take away. The dream of a new home often comes with invisible work. Permits, zoning, logistics. That doesn't make for flashy TV moments. Choosing your own space means owning the pace. Janelle is redefining her timeline. When you build for freedom, the delays become part of the story, not a distraction from it. The decision to settle or build is yours. And sometimes building means waiting, planning, holding the vision. If the home is an extension of self, then the process, slow or quick, is a mirror of your values: freedom, control, vision, or convenience. In the comments, I want to hear from you. Have you ever started a big project that took longer than you expected? Did you stay the course or change plans? Share your story. Let's support each other in the building phase of life. Let's deep dive in full details. Part 3, 18, the age of adulthood, the threshold of independence. That's the rule many viewers of Sister Wives have come to accept. When children reach 18, their place in the Brown family household allegedly shifts, but for some members, the line remains blurred. Enter this character, Robyn Brown's older daughters, Aurora Brown and Brianna Brown. They're legal adults. Yet fans on Reddit argue they still operate within the family's inner orbit, seemingly exempt from that, 18 and out transition. Another character, Janelle Brown, once in the plural marriage inside the family, has purchased 156 acres in North Carolina to build a new home and business venture. The phrasing she uses, "This is my home," every part intentional. What unites these two stories? The rule and the build, the daughters and the land, the should move on rule and the take your time to create your own build. But the tension has been quietly simmering. We're about to watch the timeline in slow motion, unravel the history, the loyalties, the fan backlash, and reveal what neither the daughters nor the driveway really hid. In the early seasons of Sister Wives, viewers watched the husband, Kody Brown, and his 4 wives, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, manage a sprawling plural family of 18 children. The implicit order, wives, kids, family unit. With time came rules. One of them, children of adult age, would step into a different phase of life. Yet Aurora and Brianna appear still enmeshed in the household, still under Robyn's roof or notice, still viewed by fans as under her control. On Reddit, Robyn's 2 older daughters are in their 20s. They are both legal adults. When they choose to get up in front of a camera, Robyn can't fathom the thought of a child under 18 speaking out, probably even over 18. I wonder what she says to them off camera. What's happening behind the scenes? Why does this pair seem outside the rule or above it? She leaves the plural marriage, buys land, and promises to build a home that reflects her vision. But construction is painfully slow. Social media posts say, it doesn't look like much, but it is. Fans ask, shouldn't progress be faster in TV time? Now the two narratives converge. Rule breakers in one story, delay in the other. The real question emerges, is the household rule being broken or simply redefined for some? And is the slow build a sign of freedom or of captivity in another form? Just how much control matters when land is your escape and age is your exit? Cliffhanger. As we move into the next act, we'll trace the Kaus 18-out rule from its origin and follow the timeline of the build side by side. 2 arcs, 1 climax. Let's rewind. 2010, Sister Wives premieres on TLC. The plural family is in full view. Over the next decade, 4 wives, 18 children. As the children reached adulthood, viewers assumed the general rule: 20-something kids, independent lives. Enter Aurora, born 2002, and Brianna, born 2005, Robyn's daughters from a previous relationship. Yet on the show and social media, they remained present, visible in the orbit. They were adults, but did not blur into full independence. Janelle and Kody's marital split is announced in December 2022. Then in April 2024, Janelle buys 156-plus acres in North Carolina for about $289,000. She co-founds Tata Farms with daughter Maddie and son-in-law Caleb Brush, their business venture. This is her new beginning, her home built from her vision. But they also noticed the cleared land, the posted photos, the delayed build. On Reddit, they bought this land a year ago and the house I'd already in progress. This makes me so happy for Janelle. And across the internet, why so slow? What's really going on? We now watch both arcs in parallel. The home, land acquired, but the build postponed. The longer this goes on, the deeper the questions. Are these exceptions, privileges, or redirections? When rules don't apply to you, or when your freedom comes with a delay, are you really free? Cliffhanger. Next, we dig into character and alliances, who benefits, who controls, and who observes, because power always plays a role in rulemaking and land claiming. Robyn Brown's role: wife, mother, stepmother, and widely perceived as the gatekeeper of her daughters. Reddit commentary paints a picture of control. As one post states, Robyn would probably never be okay with her daughters just deciding something shows her true colors, that she is more in control over her daughters than we think. In forums, resentment, confusion, suspicion, not necessarily at the daughters themselves, but the fact that the rule seems not to apply equally. Another post: Robyn's 2 older daughters, it's a problem. Meanwhile, the build vision is Janelle's. She is pulling away from the plural marriage history and carving a separate path. Her alignment is with her daughter and son-in-law in Tata Farms. That alliance gives her a different kind of power: land, business, independence, but also delay, responsibility, expectation. On one hand, an older daughter's storyline, where you should be out, is ignored. On the other, a new woman-headed project where you will build is slowed. Which speaks to identity. Are the daughters still under Robyn's umbrella because they share her vision? Or because the rule doesn't matter for them? And is the slow build a sign of autonomy, or of a different kind of? What emerges is insiders versus outsiders, rule users versus rule breakers, home builders versus home holders. The power lies in whether you get to define your status or are simply given one. If you can postpone the rule or postpone the build, what does that say about someone's freedom? Cliffhanger. Now, the emotional fallout. The fans, the children outside the circle, the supporters, the critics. We dive into how the community reacted to both stories. The reaction has been loud. In Facebook groups and Reddit threads, fans compare how the guy 18 out rule is applied to different children within the same family. One post: Robyn's daughters are in their 20s. They are both legal adults. when they choose to get up in front of a camera. What do Robyn's daughters do? Why does whatever it is exempt them from the 18 and out rule? On the Janelle front, posts show support, but also debate. 165 acres is a lot. Hope they find success and are able to hire some help. They bought this land a year ago and the house site already in progress. Women viewers comment that it reflects something they know. When you should move on or could build, but you wait. In the context of parent-child dynamics or building your independent life, these stories hit home. Behind the scenes, the suicide of Janelle and Kody's son Garrison in March 2024 is cast a shadow. For Janelle, her land purchase and slow but intentional build become even more laden with emotion and meaning. And for the daughters, being inside yet not free mirrors adult children who live at home, hovering between independence and parental orbit. Who has freedom? Who pays with time? Who gets the rule and who doesn't? If the rule is broken or the build delayed, is that privilege or problem? We're heading into the climax, the twist reveal. Everything we've built so far merges the rule, land, the people, and will uncover what really lies behind the delays and exemptions. And now the twist. What if we've been looking at the problem upside down? What if the true exception is not the daughters getting special treatment, but the rule itself never meant to apply to them? What if the real delay is not the home build, but the home becoming a refuge from the rule? Here's how it unfolds. The 18-out rule appears fair in theory, but when the family structure changed, wives leaving, property transitions, divorces, the rule lost its foundation. Robyn's daughters were adopted into the family system when she married Kody. 2015 adoption. They shifted into a category that blurred daughter with household insider. Their presence didn't constitute a rule breach. Rather, the rule was quietly repurposed. Meanwhile, Janelle's land purchase with her daughter and son-in-law creates a new household structure, not just a home, but a business venture, legacy plot, intentional build. The slow pace isn't accident. It's part of the strategy of reclaiming identity, autonomy, and redefining what home and rule mean. What appears to be special treatment, it's structural redefinition. What appears to be delay, it's deliberate pause. A pause for healing, a pause for control, a pause to rebuild on one's own terms. The climax flips the narrative. The focus shifts from why is she still there? The daughters, and why isn't it done yet? The home, to who decided who the rule applies to and why? And what happens when you build your life under new rules? The emotional payoff. A mirror for American women viewers. How often do we see rules applied unevenly? How often does our big house dream get delayed because we're laying a stronger foundation? How often does the adult child stays home story collide with our vision of independence? Exceptions aren't always about favoritism. Sometimes they're about power, belonging, and rewriting the blueprint. The delay isn't always failure